is as a researcher or a curator, which is unlike a lot of the other fellows who are artists and produce things and make things that can be shared in a kind of more straightforward open source way. So one question is, like, as a curator, how do you think about sort of this idea of open source culture in relationship to the things that you do and that you produce? And this was an interesting question that was posed by one of the fellows just before me last year. His name is Lindsay Howard, and she was really kind of grappling with that question at the end of her fellowship and sort of started an interesting dialogue about it. So I started to think, how could I also take that up in my work? And you know, one thing that I've been doing here is, like, I've been sitting around, you know, in a room full of people with computers reading all of my feminist theory books and all of my cyber feminist texts. So I thought, well, maybe an interesting idea would be, like, what if I just shared that? What if I just, you know, made that something that not just I can utilize inside the space of IBM, so it's not a kind of private or personal object, but what if I also allowed other people to access it, you know, during the event when there will be a lot of people here. And I think it's a kind of interesting model to think about, you know, how do we share our research? How do we share the things that we think about? So I decided to collaborate with another fellow who's overlapped with me here named Caroline Woolard. And she's an artist whose practice is very interesting and has a lot of different things that she produces. And one of the things that she's been working on recently is it's kind of a set of furniture, very simply designed, all from recycled materials, and it's furniture that she built here using IBM's woodshop, and it was just in an exhibition at MoMA called Exchange Cafe. And so she's brought the pieces back to IBM and will actually be using that same furniture as part of the very first year. And one of the reasons why I thought it would be really interesting to work together on this in terms of the creation of this reading room is that my favorite piece of furniture that she's made is, like, I don't know how to exactly describe the shape of it, but it's this kind of little cubby that you sit inside of. But then on the outside there's kind of slats where you can sort of take your books and you can kind of hang them up so they can be sitting all around the sides of this little reading room. And it's actually, like, on wheels, so I mean, you can kind of stop it in a certain place. And I thought it would be interesting to kind of have those populating the space. And then the other kind of furniture that she's made is kind of very interestingly functional and turning everyday objects into things of unexpected use. So one example of that is something that she's made called a barricade bed, and it